Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. I am here with a couple members of the development crew of the Acuitas trading bot, Mr. Jason Lee and Jared Clark. So stick around and we'll be right back after this disclaimer that you all know and love. Crow your coins.
You gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins. Grow your coins. You gotta grow your coins.
Yeah. I had to keep my wits about me.
Grow your coins. Grow your coins. You gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins. Grow your coins. Grow your coins. You gotta grow your coins.
I'm not gonna be able to get a chat on here.
Grow your coins. Grow your coins.
What?
And we're back. Yes, you've been hearing these gentlemen talking behind the scenes, so you've got some exclusive footage of these guys rambling about their moonshine and just planning for the future of this broadcast. What's up, everybody? Okay, so we've got Jared Clark. Say hi so everybody knows who you are. And then we have Jason Lee, who I'm kind of blocking with my big noggin. I'm going to make myself really small in this video. That way people can see you guys more clearly. And,
aren't you like 8 feet tall? That might be difficult.
You're a foot off, but close enough. So yeah, here we are. I mean, we've been, so just as kind of a, I don't know, disclaimer, whatever you want to call it, just to kind of give everybody a little bit of history from my perspective of things. I have been working with these guys now for, has it been 6 months? Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, about that. And so I've been working with these guys on, so we've been working together kind of on the marketing side of Profit Feeder, right? So, Jared is the guy who and I'll let these guys go more into their backgrounds individually, but, Jared's a hardcore trader, hardcore nerd, as we were just discussing. He's complaining about running green screen on his Linux box. And, so, we've been kind of working on this for a while, going back and forth, discussing ideas and things. And we had talked about, just kind of what, Profit Trailer does and what it doesn't do, and what are a lot of the complaints about Profit Trailer, Profit Feeder, the different add-ons and the different platforms that are out there, and how could those be expanded upon with a more kind of a user-friendly platform that virtually anybody could use in a sense. And so I will, I decided, I wanted to partner with these guys, get involved in this project. I want to use it. I want to play. I want to, have fun. I want to make some money. But to let everybody know right up front, this is still in development. This is not a finished product yet. But we're looking to educate everybody on what this project is, enlighten everybody to the pre-sale that's available. That's basically going to help the further development of the project. And, but yeah, just in full disclosure, I am absolutely a part of this project. I'm a part of this team. I love what already exists, and I'm absolutely super pumped about what's coming. So we'll kind of leave it at that and let you guys introduce yourselves and go a little bit into your background.
Cool. Jason, you want to go?
Yeah. Hey, my name's Jason. I'm pretty much the primary, developer, architect, brains behind the tech, basically. I've been writing code for a long time, since I was a kid. So it's just something I've always done. That and music on and off. And so I've been through like the .com. I've been through all kinds of startups. Built like a gazillion different apps. High transactional systems that pour in a lot of money and stuff. And this is, for me, I think this is the ultimate kind of expression of where I want to be. I got into the botting space last year, and before that, I had some friends that I worked with, and they were into Ethereum and stuff. And then, I'd mined Bitcoin, a couple years ago, and, of course, like everybody, lost the hard drive with cold Bitcoin on it or whatever. And it really didn't hit me until kind of last year that I totally want to take like a right turn in, my career basically. And I want to work on things that, I kind of really believe in, and that, that I could have a deeper part in. And so I met Jared, beginning last year, sort of. We started using Gunbot around, I don't know when it was, like February or something. And so, over time, we built this rapport, and we would, be shooting ideas across Telegram channel for Gunbot is like, how does this work? I should do this. And so I feel like in the beginning we kind of incubated, we incubated this little sort of seed that, we knew we wanted to do something different, something, the way that we, basically saw things, right? And, we aren't here to knock, Gunbot, Profit Trailer, it's like we've had great experiences in the communities.
Profit Trailer is still great. I agree. I mean, I still love Profit Trailer. Yeah.
It's a solid piece of software. There's things we think we can do better.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think again, it's that whole thing of like, everybody has the way that they have their outlets and stuff, right? And so, you don't see things the same way as other people do. And so I think that's kind of where we've been really following everything, is just sort of like, this is how we think we could be doing things. And so, let's give it a shot. And then, so we started, again, we went through Gunbot last year. We went over to the PT crew, early, with LBRY, and, just getting in with Chirag and Meta and everything for Feeder. And then I just really hated my job. And so, we made this decision like last December that we were going to, we were going to build a sales platform. We were going to launch, help launch Feeder on it. And Colin joined us, around that time, into last year. And, we met you, and then just sort of, everything mooned, and we took off.
You blew up our server.
I remember that. Yeah. Hey, dude, our server has crashed. We have to upgrade. We've upgraded our servers 3 times now in 2 days. That was good stuff.
Yeah. And then, so Crypto Profit Bot, right? We did that whole thing. That's where we met you, and during that whole time we were looking at ways to develop more products. And so, we were initially kind of pointed down this road of like, oh, let's SaaSify, Feeder and PT, because we saw a lot of users that were, they wanted their bots installed for them. They didn't want to deal with it. We just saw like a bunch of people with just all these questions like, how do we do this? How do we configure that? And so we started going down that road, and this was about a month or two before PT2 came out. And then, but Jared and I, last fall, we had started working on a bot, and we tabled it. And then, around this time that we were looking to SaaSify everything, we were like trying to figure out, the legalities and logistics of it and everything. And so we played around with that for a little while, CPB was still going. And then we just decided like, hey, we got to resurrect that old code. We got to make our own bot. And, we got to like basically, we know what, what our users want, and we know like how we want a system to be. And so we just need to take that step out, and we need to basically, try to take it up another level. And so that's basically where we are now. We have another developer, Richard, that, has been helping with us for the last few months. And so we're just like we're really focusing on right now, like UX, and getting the features right, getting the onboarding right, just not like dropping people in there, like when we used Gunbot, it was just like, okay, what do we do next? It's like, so we have a lot of, and I come from, again, a software, development background where we ship, all kinds of apps and everything. And so, I have that experience of like, what does the user have to start with? How are we going to get them from A to B? And so that's what we're working on with all this stuff is, like, we want to make sure like the back testing works, the paper trading works great, everything looks good. It's like, it feels good to use, and it's not a hindrance of where you're like trying to figure out, where do I go next? Why is this thing doing this? And so that's where we're at. That's where we're focusing on. And, we still got, probably a month or so, left of development before we do the launch. And, we want to do the pre-sale to keep this thing going. So, it's like people don't have to go back and look for contract work or whatever. And we can also, build
it's
something.
Also a way to let people in while Bitcoin is low. I mean, let's face
exactly.
it. Because when everything's priced at against Bitcoin, If it starts to moon, well, things get a little more expensive for people. So it's a good opportunity to let everybody in while it's still in development, and it just kind of helps everybody as a whole. So, Jared, a little bit of your background, just kind of let everybody, and just so everybody knows, and I'll flash this. It's on the website, but this isn't a 2-man team. You know, there's a pretty sizable group involved with this, so it's not just a couple guys in their garages. You know what I mean? Honestly, it wouldn't matter because you got the 2 main guys right here. But Jared, give us a little bit about your background.
All right, so I'm an IT guy by trade. Nothing as advanced and fancy as Jason. More of a sysadmin kind of guy.
But you run Linux.
Oh yeah. Well, there's my credentials right there.
That's all you got to say, and people get it.
Yeah, but it's Ubuntu. It doesn't count.
Oh, okay.
So I was involved in crypto really, really early on. I'm one of the guys that kicks himself for, I was mining late 2009, early 2010, and I remember turning it off because it was, my fan was going really, really hard. My computer was heating up, and I couldn't do anything else on it. I got a friend who mined, I don't know, 10,000 or so. So I've had them. I've been involved in it kind of early. I started trading altcoins around 2014. Different period then. At that time there wasn't all these cool projects that there are now. Pretty much everything was a Bitcoin clone. So it wasn't as exciting as it is now. But definitely in the last about last year, I've learned a whole lot of technical analysis. I've been kind of digging in. That started with the gun bot thing. I remember just deciding, hey, I'm gonna get back into this, and I googled around for bots, and I was looking for one that I could just buy. Like, I didn't want a subscription. I didn't want to, and I did the math, and at the time it was 0.1 Bitcoin, which was something about $100. So it was like, okay, $100, right? Like, what's the worst that can happen? I lose $100. So I did it, and spent the next several months, frustrated, trying to figure out how to make it work and get strategies.
I did the same thing, but I spent $800 on the damn thing, and then I found Profit Trailer 3 days later. So I'm seeing people in chat like, why do we care about this bot if most of us just got Profit Trailer? And those questions will be answered here in a little bit. Trust me. But
sure, yeah. It's a big ocean, right? There's lots of products, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's like anything else, right? There's a lot of people coming out with things. We feel like what we're trying to focus on is definitely user experience. My brother is a great source of information because he's very smart, but he's crypto trading dumb. So trying to explain things to him is just like talking to a wall. But then I realized that there's a lot of people that want to make money that don't necessarily want to spend the time it takes to learn the ins and outs of technical analysis. So it's like, how can we make this more approachable and easy for people and visual for the visual learners? And then later on, with a cloud platform, it's like, how can we incentivize other smart traders to not only make money with the platform, but be able to lease those strategies to other users.
Right.
Easy buttons for people. So that's further down the road, but that's part of the overall roadmap. Is how can we make this?
So real quick though, that's a big point. So one of the features. So when we start hitting bot features or product features, I want to make sure that we kind of highlight those notes. So one of the features of the bot, because one of the things that everybody would come to me for pretty much daily, like constantly, all day, in my Telegram, in my Discord, when do you got new settings? What are your settings? Where are your settings located? How do I get your settings? Where are Crow's settings? Where do I download them? That link doesn't work. Can I get another link? Constantly, right? Which is great because people are excited about the bot. But with this platform, you're basically going to be able, now correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to play ignorance here, okay? If I'm using the bot, I will be able to see what other bot users are using and what they're doing with their bot and potentially adopt their settings on pretty much at will.
Not at version 1. This is later on. This will probably be next year, right? Like, we have to get all the core first, but that's on the roadmap. Yes, correct.
Right. So that's going to save people a lot of time, money, and honestly bugging the hell out of me constantly trying to get new settings. So it's basically, in a nutshell, that this platform is ultimately being developed to be kind of an all-encompassing platform where you don't have to look outside of the platform to get what you need for it to run.
That's a big. You hit the nail on the head. That was part of the all-inclusive design. It was like, why do I have to go to TradingView and try to duplicate what I'm doing in a bot, which may or may not work in the bot, right? Why do I have to go somewhere else for my news and chat with other like-minded traders? Like, why can't we make a platform where everything's contained in one place? Because you spend a lot of time going, everywhere else, right? So by integrating backtesting into it, as well as a chat platform and a marketplace, we feel like we're going to integrate everything into one nice package. That's the plan. I mean, we've talked about this for a long time, and then the bot we were talking about last year, it was more like, we want Ichimoku, the bots offer that. That's how it kind of started. Like, well, what do we want? And I've learned a lot even since then. I've learned about trend trading and lots of other, again, feature wise, we talked about, why can't I do an and/or strategy chain? Why is this, I'm not going to name too many other products, but every product I look at is like it's constrictive in one way or another. So it's like,
you're running one setting and that's it until you manually change it. And it
yeah. And to be clear, we didn't develop Fear. That was all Metadone. Right. We simply so basically we made a group. Once we've kind of figured out Gunbot, we made a group and said, you know what, there's probably value in like transferring this knowledge to other people and giving them the jump start, as part of an education thing. So we started a group that charged for admission, and we would like essentially teach them, give them the fast course to figure out this piece of software and start making money. And so that's kind of how we met, because I think Metadone was part of that group. So was Colin. So was Jason. Jason was one of the founders of that, because we saw value in that. But what all we were really doing was trying to patch a difficult product with education, right? And we thought, yeah, man, why is that a thing? It's because these products are too hard to use. How can we make a product that's a lot simpler? And it's a tough task. I'm not gonna lie. You're taking a very technical thing and trying to make it not technical.
Right.
So and make it visual at least.
That's where the skill and the experience comes in. Making something extremely complex, super easy, and and that's. I'm seeing in chat, some people have sound, some people don't. I'm assuming that some people may have us muted because we're getting like, yeah, sound is fine, and other people are like, I don't even hear what's going on. So that's confusing. Maybe some people have us muted and they don't realize it. So, okay, let's go over some of the details. Can we start showing the people what the bot actually is going to look like? Can we start showing them some of the functionality and explain some of the, like, what exists now and what's on the drawing board as we move through the weeks?
Yeah, we absolutely can. Let me get my screens all ready here. And I will share.
Good.
And to fill in for Colin for a little bit, like he's another key part of this. He's got a big financial background. He's done a lot of work for, I think it was just JP Morgan, Jason? I forget which company he was with. But
forget, yeah.
Yeah, he's worked for some major houses and does a lot of mobile development. Really cool guy, really smart. Wish he could be here, but maybe if we do more of these later, we can meet everybody too.
Oh yeah, well he's the one that pulled me into all of this with you guys.
Yeah. Colin's, he's our bulldog. It's basically like the thing with Jared and I is like we have this. Colin's got technical expertise too, right? He's an iOS developer, a Python developer and everything, so he knows how to code. He's worked with his financial systems and stuff, but. Jared and I are kind of like, we were, heads down, focused on like, what do we want to do? What are the ideas, and just input and kind of output in that regard. And Colin's like, all of a sudden, boom, he's just pulling in people and he's like, I got this person, they're going to, they're going to help sell. And we're like, oh, and so
he was like, let's make some money, boys.
Yeah. He's like, he's the missing link that basically can get the, the kind of the sales marketing pieces with project management and stuff together, so Jared and I, we can pull together our pieces too. So yes, having him, on was probably like one of the key, turning points. Because again, we founded this, Gunbot University with some other guys last year, and it was just we did well on it and everything, but we didn't move, as fast and as far as we did with this. So Colin was a big part of that.
So I'm going to try and have you make the, if you can, make the Acuitas window a little bit bigger to the sides. There's maybe if you can, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Just to fill the screen up behind me. There we go. Just makes things a little easier for everybody to see too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so again, we're actively iterating over this stuff. A lot of these are pieces that we've put together quickly to get the idea of like, what do we want? For instance, we're looking at the dashboard, right? It's like Colin is like the father of the dashboard and wants to have that place where you go and you open, it has like, these features in it, right? So basically, there's Colin.
Hey, Colin, what's up, buddy?
I thought PST, not EST. I apologize.
Oh my gosh, noobs.
Time zone noob. So I see. So basically, on the dashboard, I'm looking at the ticker tape at the top. Basically breaking down the latest price action, like what everything's priced out at. On the right, we got a news aggregator that's basically explaining all the different news articles going on with the markets. Oh wow.
So you'll be able to, some of the stuff pops out, but yeah, the idea is going to be we're going to be giving you the news feeds, and these obviously won't show the charts breaking out, but
the idea behind this dashboard is that for any one particular coin, you can get your entire news feed, whether that be from Twitter, whether it's from a news source. So the idea here is that you'll click this chart, you'll change it from Ethereum, BTC to some other coin, Cardano perhaps, or Ripple, Stellar. And then all of these will change automatically without you having to do anything. So we'll go and fetch the news for that particular coin. We'll go and fetch the tweets for it. You can then sort of try and start to gauge market sentiment from exactly where you're looking at in your bot. And if you see some good things going on, if you hear some good talk going on, then you can immediately click to start a trade and start a back test or start a paper trade and start to hit the ground running almost. Instead of you might be sitting at home, you're having to open all these different news sites and scroll down and trying to get all the information and put it together yourself. We're going to try and deliver it all within this dashboard, and then enable you to just start trading straight off the bat, whether that's a manual trade or kicking off a back test or kicking off a paper trade or a live trade, where you're just going to be able to do it all from here.
Yeah. So when looking at the chart and the bars, what sort of functionality, like what is this representing? Obviously, this is like for a particular pair, right? So like looking at this demo, it's Ethereum and Bitcoin pair. And so we're seeing the bars, and then we're seeing little tabs for A, D, AD, AD. What does that stuff represent?
Yeah, well, right now it's pretty much just like placeholders, right? This is, for us, it's like, and we're actually going to be replacing this with a trading view chart that I'll show you on the back testing. But the idea is like we want to get this UX dialed in. We want to make sure that the pieces we're putting on here make sense, right? And it's like as Colin said, it's like when you open this thing up, it's like first thing you want to see in this view is like you want to see your coin, you want to see the social and feed and everything below it, and then news off to the side, and then you can kind of decide where you're going to go from there. So yeah, it's just strictly representative of what is going to be added in the finalized thing.
Right. Okay, so let's look a little bit at the actual like when people are when they want to start trading. Let's show people kind of the like the trading window, like when they've got pairs running, or they're selecting their pairs, or they're kind of letting the bot help them find what pairs to trade. Can we take a look at that?
Yep. Yeah, so what we're gonna have in that regard is like the paper trading screen, and we're envisioning the live trading to pretty much look exactly like this. Everything in the bot is visual. Okay, there's no text anything anywhere, right? I mean, you'll be entering text in text boxes for like settings and things like that. But when you're interacting with the bot and everything, everything's 100% pretty much GUI. So we wanted to come up with like this a sort of concept of like, what do I want to see when I'm looking at, the pairs that I've chosen, right? And these pairs can, they come off, like the analyzer, which was shown a little bit, or, I can directly go from a back test into a paper trade. And so this is our first cut at sort of how we're going to be, displaying all that stuff, right? Fitting a lot of information into a small space. And so, everything's updated in real time. It's all running, sockets from the exchange. So, we get up-to-date pricing fed in. We can turn these things on or off. And, we can see, like, if we want to flip them over. So this will have actually the trades that we have, going on, and it'll list them and show them here. So, the idea is like, okay, I can see, what's going on with this thing, right? I can see, like, I have a P&L, I got my trade count here, what the price is doing, 24-hour. We'll talk about the Sentinel in a second. But, it's like, I want to see a little bit more info, right? And so the idea is like, we flip it over and then we can get, some more of like the strategy that's being run, with its parameters and, what the Sentinel is doing at the time, and then, the trades here. In the black paper, we have this couple, paragraphs about what the Sentinel is, right? And the Sentinel is one of our pieces that's actually watching all this live pricing data come over, and it's basically working with our trading engine to, basically look for, to get you entries and exits, right? So, once this thing basically is in a trade, the iconography would change here, and it, basically would give you, when I mouse over it, it's like, hey, you bought at this price, I'm looking for this type of exit based on, whatever your strategy setting is. So when I want to see more detail of that trade, then when I just click on it, boom, I'm over into the screen that basically breaks everything out in the detail. So again, this is something that, we're still kind of working on. There's no trades here, but, the idea is like, again, everything's updating live, and, I have my strategy here, which I can change out anytime I want. My pair, capital, time frames for both of my EMAs, since this is a dual EMA strategy that we have, the gain percentage, what the period is that I'm running. And then, I'm going to get these statistics down here that are basically going to be displaying also like the continuous sort of back testing that it's doing, right? So it's going to be running that along with the actual paper trading itself, and it's going to be, filling in these stats boxes up here that we have. So, our total gain percent, what it would be over the period, if we did a buy and hold, the usual. This is our old pre-first cut kind of 0.5 cut of what we want to do with charting. Again, I've been replacing all this with TradingView, which I'll show in the back testing. So we wanted to make everything, a lot more dynamic, and you can move things and click on things and have them respond. So this is pretty static, but the new stuff we have is a lot better. And then at the very bottom, obviously, once there's trades here, we'll see all of our entries and exits and what our trades are doing there.
Will we have an RSI indicator in there?
Yeah, we're doing just two simple ones right now. We're doing this dual EMA that we have, and then also a BB. And we have MACD, RSI, Stoch, and probably like around 6 to 10 more that we want to include in the package. Once we're done. So again, this is just like getting the whole experience and everything in. So when we just add those other strategies in, it all just kind of works. So.
All right. So do we want to show was it the analyzer?
Yeah. I don't know, Jared, you want to kind of voice over it if you want?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, what he's doing here is the analyzer is going to run through. Currently, it's set to look at all available strategies. We may tweak that later. Obviously, if we have a whole bunch of strategies, there may be time constraints there. Jason tells me that he's had to actually slow down the database calls because it's too fast. So we don't really know where our limits are. But what it's going to do right now, it's going to take every available strategy, and he just selected the candle periods to look at. And the analyzer is going to go through and run through backtesting on all of those, on all the historical data, and return to you the best trades. Of course, it's not doing it on his cut. But if you look on the website, you can see how Analyzer works. It goes through everything and then kind of floats the best ones to the top. Part of the black paper too was the combinator, right? There might be other ways we can essentially shotgun blast lots of data at one particular strategy. Because a problem that I saw was the human still has to go in and say, okay, well, let me run these numbers and backtest it and see what it looks like. Okay, that's cool. And we all know backtesting is not perfect. You're just trying to get in the ballpark. Live trading is usually different than what your backtesting shows because you're not trading on closed candles. You're trading on live data. But still, it's this intensive process. Even when you have a strategy you like, you have to manually iterate through all these different combinations. And I'm like, these are computers. Like, why can't we say variable ranges? Each parameter we can say, look, trade, show me EMA, 1 to 100 on this one, and 5 to 50 on the other one, and run through all the possible combinations and spit that out. So that's on the list too. In addition to right now, Analyzer definitely works. It works well.
Probably should have picked less time frames though. That way.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Take a few minutes, so go grab a coffee and take a break.
Yeah, well, and I cheated. If you look, I sped up the video on our website, right? Because this isn't magic. It does take time.
Yeah.
And for things like the database seeding, that's a one-time thing. What we're doing is we're populating the database with all the historical data, and then we're appending to it with new. There you go. So, and you can see how it's floated up the cool ones to the top. So.
We're not going to get the cool animation on it or anything, but yeah, it's just churning through this. It's basically churning through everything that I have for, my base currency. So everything on BTC and all the other pairs, right? So there's on Binance, there's 140 something, right?
So basically, so that people understand what they're looking at right now, what the bot does is it goes through and it runs through all the trading pairs on the exchange that you set up for the bot, and it goes through and it basically evaluates over multiple time frames, profit or loss, every 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever at the very beginning before he ran the analyzer, he selected what time frames he was interested in. Are you looking for really quick trades? Are you looking for more long-term trades? That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
And then the pairs with the most profitability over whatever time frame you've selected, the cream rises to the top. And then you can basically select from this area here which of those pairs you want the bot to start trading for you.
Correct. The idea is when Jason jumped into Hasbot, which is again that's a nice powerful piece of software, but it's hard to use. It's like what you're presented with all these options. I don't know, what do I do? Where do I start? Right. So we're providing you a place to start. Just run this thing, and then there you go. There's a place to start. You can click on it. He's got buttons for backtesting, the paper trading, the live trading. You can jump right into another backtest and change it a little bit, tweak it, or just click right to paper trade, and let it start trading, paper trading on those settings. And you can watch it and see if it plays out the way the backtesting suggested it would, and then you can switch it over to live. So.
Yeah, and to follow up what Jared said, again, this absolutely comes from, when we first started using Gunbot, and they had this little tiny, this is like V2. They had this little tiny script that you could run, and it would tell you hey, you could maybe trade this coin, and this coin, right? It would give you something to start with, so you're like, okay, because again, one of the biggest questions people have when they're starting is how do I start? What do I do, right? So this isn't meant to be the ultimate piece that tells you you're going to be rich or something. It's basically. It's a good hard numbers thing. It's going to, like you said, it's going to run through, all these combinations, and it's going to just tell you out of everything, at the top, what is the highest. And it's going to give you, some direction so you can explore that further, right?
Yeah, and the idea, because I used to actually put out a blacklist, right? I would put out, in my settings, I would put a list of all of the trading pairs that I did not want to trade, because they were pumping up coins or whatever. So, but I would take my list, I would go over to Bittrex or whatever the exchange was, go through all of the trades, all of the trading trading pairs on that exchange, and then individually go and look at the chart. And so I'm going to all these different places to get the data that I need to decide whether or not, oh, well, this is a pump and dump. It's spiked up 200% in an hour and then crashed. I don't ever want to even trade that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Basically, with this platform, you're going to be able to do all that right here. This is going to run the analyzer. You'll click one of these. You'll be able to look at the chart, decide whether or not it's a pump and dump coin or something you want to trade in. It'll give you a little extra information about potential strategies that are going to be the most profitable. And you basically just click it if you want to add it to the overall bot, like as an active trade. And that's exactly. One of the things that I like the most out of the whole thing. Now, taking that to the next level, and I don't know where you are right now in the development, but the strategy chaining to me is a godsend, right? So, explain a little bit about that process, that functionality. Basically, being able to say, okay, if these circumstances are met, I want to switch to this strategy, and if these circumstances are met, I want to switch to this one. Or how does that functionality? How is that planned? How far along is that?
Yeah. So that's one piece that we knew early on that, we had to have, right? We know that people are going to want to get like creative in ways that they are going to see how they want to hook things together. So when I was building the engine with this, I built in all the support already that we could, chain a bunch of strategies together, and we can connect them with, ands or ors, knots, things like that, right? So we're still working on very preliminary, UI for it. We put on the black paper, some of our initial thoughts about it. But the idea is basically that, we want to get into, back testing and paper trading, and we want to be able to go into that strategy then, and we want to modify it or create a new one, right? So the best way to do that is not to, whip open a, text editor and do it. The best way to do it is to see everything visually and start, dragging, moving pieces around and connecting the dots. So the idea is going to be, you have a palette of all of your strategies, and there'll be some indicators as well. And you'll be able to take these and drop them out onto your, your deck basically, and start hooking things together and seeing like, if, my SMA strategy, works, then, run it through this BB, and then, run it through this MACD or whatever. And then, after that, I want to have my exit to be, whatever, a gain or whatever, right, the strategy does. So that is going to be, for, I think, us, one of the really fun things that we're going to want to use. And that's what we're also going to be taking once we've, verified through the system and everything. We're going to be putting those in the marketplace. So, if somebody's got like this great, strategy that they built, it's all visually and everything, and they're getting these great gains. All the gains are verified through the bot, transmitted to the cloud if the person wants to, take part in that, and then basically put up in the marketplace, and there's the proof there. So this is that the strategy builder is going to be like it's going to be a massive, cornerstone of the whole system, because, we're building these other really cool pieces on top of it.
I believe wholeheartedly that the strategy builder of this platform is going to take every newbie trader into a whole other level, because using that and learning what strategies are going to work, learning about, EMA spread versus Bollinger Band and so forth, and learning the differences and what that means in the market and what that means for the bot. I think that, but not having to go through and fine-tune set a lot of this stuff in Notepad, like right. A lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to enable people to spend more time learning about what works and less time trying to figure out how to actually plug it in. And I think that that's going to really help people learn and actually help their overall trading. So, as I always say, I'm not a TA guy. I'm always learning, and I'm looking forward to actually having the bot help me kind of learn some of the other stuff as well. So, okay.
And there's a hidden dimension to that as well. So, like when we first started thinking about, what other things could we possibly bring into the platform, we talked about the idea of having the news dashboard in the community. That quickly led us on to having a way to validate, like, the people that you're actually talking to and trading with are having have the experience and have the results. So right now it's a dark market, so you don't really know who you're talking to. Everybody's going to claim that their settings or their Discord server is the best and it's the place to get the knowledge. But with verified traders, with the verified traders program, where people are going to have all of their trades verified and have their results publicly displayed. So that's gonna lead on to being able to verify all of the different people that are who they say they are on the platform. And then you'll know that when you go to rent a strategy or you go to get some advice from somebody, you'll know that you're getting it from someone who is having actual verified trades. And I think that'll be a huge step in sort of like being able to legitimize people, because there's lots of really clever TA guys out there in crypto, and being able to legitimize them and give them a platform to help ensure that with real knowledge that people can see. I think that'll be a game changer as well.
It is going to be a game changer, because my biggest videos were the ones where I'm like, I did $1,500 today in Profit Trailer, you know what I mean? And it's like showing people why. You won't even have to do that kind of stuff, because you're just going to be able to go to somebody's profile and see what they've done.
Yeah.
And like, if you like what they're doing, you'll just be able to like get their strategies and run with it. So I am like super pumped about this. I will say that some of the feedback is that the website, the text color matches the background color in a lot of cases, so people can't see what the hell they're trying to click on or what they're trying to do. Let's just take a look at some of the other tabs real quick and just kind of give people an idea. We're coming up on 41 minutes. I know we're not going to cover everything tonight, but next week we'll come back and we'll go over some of the things that we don't cover tonight, and we'll just kind of keep rolling with it. And the idea, folks, is we're kind of giving you guys a sneak peek, kind of giving you a reveal as to the fact that this exists. It's coming. When it shows up, it's going to kick some ass. And between now and the time it's ready to launch, I want to keep everybody updated as to what's being added, how things are working. Obviously, I'm waiting for the day that I'm able to use the bot, start making some trades, and we can start showing you profitability. That's what everybody wants to see. They want to see, how is this making money? How is this printing money, right? So we're going to get there. Don't worry, but we're not going to get there tonight. So anyway, here we go. What is this?
Yeah, so this is what I've been working on this week, and sort of Jared's dream and my this was not easy to do, basically, from a development perspective. But
thank you, Jason.
Yeah, we this is what our back testing screen looks like, right? Top down really quick, I select the strategy that I had. I just use a dual EMA game, but we also have a BB strategy. And then once I select that, I can go through and I just fill in, the properties that, I want to run on it. So, what the time span is going to be, my starting capital, the end date, my EMA timeframes. This is a dual EMA gain. So, it's the entry is defined by the EMA1 cross-up over the 2. Exit is defined by closing price, greater or equal than the gain percent. Pretty straightforward. The period that I wanted to run it against, and, boom.
Real quick, you said end date. Is that basically like, look, I'm charting this stuff out. Maybe I'm a TA guy, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to short this, or I'm gonna buy in, but I think it's only going to go up $300, and I think it's going to go up to by $300 by this date. And come this date, I want to end the auto trading for that particular pair. No,
it's more like if you're, let's say you wanted to test a strategy over a certain bear market, you can dial that in. Say, like, I want to use this time slice because it was falling during that time, and I want to test it against a certain slice of data.
Gotcha.
That's pretty much.
Yep.
One other quick question that I've been asked about 4 or 5 times in chat: what exchanges will this be functional on?
Yeah, so we're going to come out, with the usual 3, right? We're going to do Binance, Polo, and Bittrex. We're going to do fast follow with BitMEX, because we want to have people want to do the shorting on that, and then we also have a big plan for Asia this year. So we're going to be releasing sometime in Octoberish, probably in Japan and Korea. So we're going to put a couple of the top Korean and Japanese exchanges on there as well. So we'll start out, with the big ones, and then we'll be working our way out.
Nice. Okay.
I'm most excited for BitMEX because a lot of people have been, dismissive of shorting when it comes to crypto. But me coming from a traditional finance background, shorting is part of life. It's not a nice thing to do, but you have to stake your claim somewhere, and you need to be able to make money in up and down markets. So BitMEX for me will be a really exciting addition to the bot space. And I know there are some difficulties with US accounts and whatnot, but I'm hoping that we can find creative ways to overcome those. I know that people in the crypto space generally do find creative ways to do things. And that we can see this bot, trading up, down, sideways markets and make people profits all the time.
Right. And obviously, that's if this bot can be profitable in any market, it will just take over. I mean, because there really isn't anything out there that I'm aware of that can do that effectively. But with that being said, how is the bot? What are the plans for bags? Now, I know we've talked about bagless trading. I know that's not tomorrow. It's not going to happen immediately. But how is the bot plan to handle bags? Limit bags as much as possible, and then what is the concept potentially? Well, I don't even know if it's a good idea to go into the concept of the bagless trading, because until it's done, I wouldn't really want to tell everybody how it's going to happen, right? I guess whatever you're comfortable explaining.
Well, I think there's two things. I will touch on one, and then I'll let Jared take the other one. But again, going through like last year through multiple different bots and seeing how they all worked and everything, there's basically, like, I feel like there's dogma out there with a lot of a couple features, right? And one of those features is stop loss. I'm not afraid of stop loss, never have been, once I was doing my trading and stuff. And so that's one thing that we have been actively talking about, is how we are going to leverage stop loss and how we are going to basically fit it into the the platform. So there's a couple of those like topics that some of the other bot makers don't want to want you to go in, or they don't talk about it much. And stop loss is one of those things that's part of our overall bag strategy, and something that we're definitely not afraid of, and that we're putting that as like one of the kind of high priorities is to making things work right. So that's like from a philosophical and kind of discussion side, and then I can let Jared talk a little bit more about like some of his details if he wants.
Yeah, so that's obviously a big topic, right?
Big topic.
I'll start with if you go the HODL meme worked for many months, right? And I don't know if you ever watched any of my stuff, but I tried to explain this to people during the permanent bull run we had, right? Nobody wanted to listen to it. Nobody wanted to hear that you couldn't always just HODL. Just, hey, a bad trade, hold it. It's going to come back, which for a while that was the case, right? So everybody just fixed bad trades by holding on to it and waiting, or doubling down, or whatever you want to do.
Oh, I've got a lot of people on Telegram still holding bags for profit trailer.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I got bags recently. I bought a EOS, I think at 12 when it looked great, right? And look where I'm at, right? And that was a manual trade. So, it happens. I
have so many bags.
Don't get Colin started on bags.
Don't get me started on bags. I'm holding bags for months.
So now, granted, so that's one way to deal with it. Obviously, stop loss makes sense. Now, there's issues with stop loss with automated trading. If you get stuck in a super sideways market and you're letting the bot sell the loss over and over and over again, sure, that could be bad, right? So you don't want to just do a dumb stop loss. But that's not to say there's other methods that could be involved that lets you retain capital. Let's say you cut your bag, but you monitor that pair, and you have a smart a system that's watching and making its decision on when where the next bottom is, and maybe it buys in later with your bag capital, and you get a better position than where you started, but your position was still in your base currency, not in your what you're trading into, right? So there are ways to do that. I'm not going to go too much into details, but there are several methods we can use. And I'll be totally honest, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, right? We're designing a platform that's going to allow other smart people to make their own versions of what they think is right and then publish those, right? And let other people use them. But we are going to have something out of the bag that's going to help with bags. But it's not magic, right? It's going to involve getting out of a position.
Right.
You really only have 4 options. You can stop loss. You can either average down, right, which means you're throwing more capital at the position. Now the problem I've always had with that is, if you're planning on doing that, you have to enter the trade with a small amount of capital so that you can afford to do this martingale strategy of doubling down. So if the trade goes in your favor initially, well,
you don't make very much.
Okay, great. You don't make very much money, right? So you're like your strategy is to hope it fails so that you can average down enough to exit out with profit, which it kind of blows my mind. So, it's a twofold thing. You need to get into good trades, right? You need to be smarter about what you're getting into, and you need to have a plan to get out, which involves, you're going to have to take a loss sometimes, or hold it. I mean, whatever. If the mantra that says, "Hey, I never realized my loss." Okay, great, but you're looking at that negative value. That's a loss, whether you actually sold it or not. That's stuck capital, right? It does you no good. So there are plans in place for that. We're going to detail those as we go on, no doubt.
All right, so to kind of close this out with 9 minutes, let's just go over the pricing structure of things a bit, and then next week when we come back, we'll go into some of these other tabs and kind of break things down a little bit more and any progress made over this next week. But for now, let's go over the pricing structure for the pre-sale a little, just to give everybody an idea as to what to expect and what we're doing.
Who's doing that? Jason? Me?
I don't know. I just see a big head. I just see a giant head in front of me with earphones on.
That's Jared. Go for it.
All right. So we have, it's a fairly simple pricing platform, and I know we had some feedback that said it was still kind of confusing, but essentially what we're doing is we're going to have a standard, a pro, and what we're running right now is the VIP, and the VIP is essentially Pro Plus, because we're trying to reach out to people that want to get in now, that want to be incentivized to jump in early. It's not much different than a Kickstarter or something like that, right? It's just not Kickstarter. Let me pull up exactly what we're offering. So it's essentially with the pre-order license. What?
He's got it.
Oh, he's got it. Okay, yeah. So the lifetime major version. So we are going to be, doing a schedule of major versions, V1 to V2 to V3. We're planning those being anywhere between 12 and 18 months. If you don't buy now, right? You buy later. You decide you want to wait. You want to see what's up. You can still get upgrades later on if you're an existing member for 25% off. If you're a VIP member, you buy now. You'll get those at 75% off. You'll also get all the supported exchanges that we ever create and connect to, and you'll get 4 API key pairs per exchange. And so that's not going to be offered ever again. When the VIP Pro thing goes away, it's just going to be gone. We're just going to have the 2 standard and the Pro. And in the black paper, if you've read it, describes the cloud stuff, and that some of that is going to be subscription based, but because it has to be, right? If we're going to host your Acuitas instance, well, there's costs associated with that. So there's, that's a recurring fee.
So basically,
but
you're
you'll always
doing that, or you're getting your own VPN or something like that.
Right.
So either way, you're
correct.
paying something.
So you're paying something, right? In this case, we're firm believers that when you buy a license, you should own the license. Like, I go nuts. Well, last time I tried to buy an Adobe product, I realized I couldn't buy the product.
Oh yeah, I know.
I was like, what is going on? So that's like that's the new thing, right? Everybody SaaS everything, right? So,
I went ahead and joined the whole thing though. I had been stealing Adobe software since I was 15 years old. I figure I'll go ahead and do a lifetime thing and give them their money back.
Yeah, I was so cheap. I signed up just for After Effects, and I got my stuff done. I'm like, I just let it cancel, right? Like I can't justify the whole suite. But anyway, so that's our belief with SaaS versus this licensing system. So you'll see the 6-month free cloud access. That's what I just talked about. Anything we determine is going to be a monthly charge with cloud. Things like, maybe we decide we're going to keep a per tick database. What if we want to keep a rolling 24, 48-hour database of all the tick data? Well, that's a pro thing, right? And we can't, everybody's not going to want to be able to retain that much data. So we may have to host a very large data blob and give people access to that. So that would be a cloud thing. And if you're a VIP member, you'll get some of that for free. The royalty-free strategy sales. We haven't really determined exactly what that's going to be. We're thinking in the realm of maybe 5% or whatever. If you're a pro trader and somebody subscribes to your stuff, Acuitas will take 5% of that as a royalty. If you're a VIP member, you can do that for 6 months for free. Early access.
Basically, the pro account really is for kind of like pros, like that.
It is.
It's not really the account that newbies are gonna. You're not gonna dump 0.1 Bitcoin on a pro account when you're just now getting into any of this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. But we want to make it affordable. The standard pricing gives you enough to get started on the exchange of your choice, and have access to just about everything. As you can see, that you can purchase the strategies from somebody else. You'll get all the normal access that you would get. The dashboard and whatnot. But yeah, the pro is more for people trying to do the leaderboards and trying to.
They want to make money off of selling their own strategies.
Well, and that's true. And here's the other way I could look at it. So, like, for instance, if I'm a professional trader, I may have 5 or 6 really good strategies, right? Maybe I don't sell my best one, but I might give access to the other 5, which are still really, really, really good compared to Joe Blow, who doesn't have anything, right? So we feel like there's definitely a good market for that, and that's what the pro level is for.
Right.
So that's and the VIP only contests. We'll probably run things. We definitely talked a lot about having giveaways or contests for the best trade of the week, or the best the best overall trading for the month, or whatever. There might be. We definitely have a big belief that community involvement is really important, and we want to facilitate that and nurture that as much as we can within the.
That to me is huge, because and we haven't even touched on some of the social functionality yet. We'll touch on some of that stuff, I'm sure, but or in the future. But I think that even the people in chat, people like the profit trailer, any trading bot community is typically so strong because everybody's kind of supporting and teaching each other. And to be able to do that from within the platform itself, to me, is huge, man. Because it's that one helpful person. And I'll tell you, straight up, when I first got into Profit Trailer, there were a lot of guys eager to help me. You know what I mean? Diesel was one. He was always around.
Good dude.
Very good dude, man. Like, Elliot. Everybody, a part of that community is so good, and so it sucks in a way because here we're bigger, better, faster, and we're trying to compete. But it goes to show that it's not just about making money in that sense. It's this is the business side of thing. The community is such a different animal altogether, and I'm super pumped, man. I just wish that you bastards would get this thing done tomorrow, so that I can dive in and start playing and start putting out some how I made $1,500 today with Acuitas.
Well, and I want to clarify too. Like, for instance, there's a dogma, there's a stigma with selling settings, right? And I think part of that is because it's just a piece of paper. You're just trusting this guy is going to give you something that's worth something. We're building a platform where these are going to be provable. We have a local database that's encrypted. Okay, so when you're doing these trades and they're verified, like when you show your leaderboard stuff, you didn't make it up. It's all contained within the platform. So that's you can verifiably show that what you've done is all bot activity, and that your strategy is what you say it is, and then that lets other people trust you essentially. So I think it was more of a trust thing, and people, I was around when an unnamed individual was really abusing people coming into the botting scene and essentially just taking all their money. Right.
I'm pretty sure I kicked that guy out of my Discord quite a few times, different names.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was pretty bad. It was no doubt. So that's I think that's why you see a lot of that. We're aiming to fix that. I feel like there's a better way, and so I don't want to stigmatize it. I want to embrace it. And
well, Yeah, and the other thing too is, it's like we're not trying to build like, it's really hard to build better tools than like Telegram or Discord, right? But it's like there's elements of those things that, you can put into something that's, at a level that's good enough, right? And it's like we chat with you on Telegram, we do all of our stuff on our Discord server, and it's just kind of like we want a place where we go into one place and we can get access to everybody, and we're not like, oh, do we have to go over to Slack or whatever, right? And so that's another part behind the whole, community and the tooling, right? Is just to where it's just easier access to everything.
Absolutely. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. This has been the sneak peek reveal, whatever you want to call it. Just kind of letting you know what's coming, what's down the pipe, and I'm super jacked. Unfortunately, I've had looks like 20 drop frames in this stream, so I cannot wait to get in the new house. I really can't. I think I'm gonna actually get fiber over there, and that's just gonna be a beautiful thing. I don't have fiber yet, so every once in a while when I've got a lot going on in live stream, I start getting drop frames. Yeah, so let's just set up a time, next week. Let's do this again. We'll kind of touch base on the progress of things. And, I'm looking forward to actually testing the trading system. So we're going to have to get you a bunch of Jolt Cola and, make sure you don't sleep until next week and everything's ready to go.
I already don't sleep.
All right, folks. Hopefully this has been educational, and we'll be back next week where we're going to go over some more of the details of this whole thing and go over the updated progress and development and a whole hell of a lot more. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me tonight and helping spread the word. So I see a fire coming, folks. I do. I see a fire coming, and I'm looking forward to. I'm actually really excited about being a part of this. So. Have a good night. I am going to go and make my wife give me a massage because I just got home before we started this from my first CrossFit class, and I am all broken up inside. So I'm going to call it a night, and I will talk to you guys on Telegram. Until next time.
Thanks, Jason.
Curl your coins, folks.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Thanks.
See ya.